In this video, we're going to go through on Rosyth School 2024 Preliminary Examination Mathematics Primary 6 Paper 2. So let's get started on the first question. All right, question 1. So in the figure below shows a triangle E, F, and G. It has a perimeter of 84 centimeters. Find the value of P. Okay, so let's write down 84. It's equal to 8P minus 9, and then plus 3p plus 21 plus 39. Okay, so let's calculate everything including the p. So 8p plus 3p, this will then become 11p. Okay, and then we have minus 9, so let's use our calculator. Minus 9 plus 21 plus 39. Wait, let me clear everything. Minus 9 plus 21 plus 39, and this is equal to 51. So 11p plus 51. All right. Okay, then from here we can minus 11p is equal to 84 minus 51. Okay, this will then become 33. Okay, so let's double check. 80, 84 minus 51. Okay, it's 33. So 1p is equal to 33 divided by 11, and this will give us 3. So the answer for P is 3. Okay, let's move on to question number 2. So it says here, Madam Rosna needs some pieces of ribbons, each of length of 36 centimeter, to tie gift bags for a party. She bought 3 rolls of ribbon. Each roll is 50 meters long. What is the greatest number of such ribbons that Madam Rosna can cut from the 3 rolls of ribbons? Okay, so common mistake is that you multiply 36, 36 centimeters with 3 rows, but you need to only just have one row divided by the 36. So yeah, so you basically, common mistake is to combine all 3 rows into one. So this one is, let me just make this a cross. So usually people think like, oh, 3 times 15. Okay. And that's wrong. Huh? Okay. So with that said, let's do the proper way. Okay. So in this case over here, uh, what we need to do is we need to have 15 meters. So number of ribbons per roll is equal to 15. So let's also have 15 meters is equal to 15 times 100, which is 1500 centimeters. So 1500 centimeters. Okay, and then we divide it by 36. Okay, all right, so let's use the calculator. In this case over here, so 1500 divided by 36, this will give you 41.66, right? 41.666. So you need to round down. Okay, let me just put it here. Okay, so round down, and then this will then become 41. So you're able to get 41 ribbons per row. Okay, then total row is equal to 41 times 3. This will give you 1, 2, 3. Okay, right, so let's times 3. So 41 times 3. Okay, 1, 2, 3. There you go. So that's the answer. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Right, question number 3. Okay, so chairs are arranged in a straight rows in a hall. There are 42 chairs in each row. Each chair has a length of 0.5 meters. Each row is 1.5 meters apart from the next row of chairs. There are 1,470 chairs altogether. What is the distance between the first rows of chairs and the last row of chairs? So we want to know this, right? What is this length over here? Okay, so we know that the chair over here is a square. I don't know if they mentioned here, but it should be mentioned that these rows are chairs. Okay, Either way, one row is 42. Okay, so let's type here, right? One row uh, is one row is 42 chairs. Okay, or 42 chairs. Chairs is one row. So 1470 chairs is equal to how many rows, right? So it's just 1470, and then we divide it by 42. Okay, so let's use our calculator. Okay, so 1470, and then we divide it by 42, and this gives us 35 rows. Okay, so this will give us 35 rows. Okay, so now we know that. The next thing is we want the distance from between the first row of chairs to the last row of chairs in meters. So we know that there are 35 rows, so that means 0.5 meters, and then we have 1.5. Okay, so one thing to take note also is that the gap right in between. So this is pretty normal, but basically I have 35 rows, so number of gaps, okay, is equal to 35 minus 1. Okay, from the first to the 35th is 34 gaps. Okay, between two chairs there is one gap. Okay, so between three chairs there's two gaps, so that's why you need to minus 1. Okay, so this is a interval gaps kind of question. So now with that we can measure the length. What's the distance? Basically distance from first and last is equal to 35 times 0.5 plus 34 times 1.5. Okay, so let's calculate this. Let's use the calculator. 35 times 0.5, which is the chest, and then plus 34 times 1.5. Okay, and this will give us 68.5 meters. Okay, there you go. So that's the answer for this question. All right, let's move on to the next question. All right, question number 4. He says in the figure below ADE, so AD and E is an equilateral triangle. So let's do that. Okay, and then ABCD is a square. So you have the square over here. EC, and BH are straight lines. Find AFC. Is it AFC? Looks like it. There's no F, but I think this is B. G. I think it's ABG, if I'm not wrong. Okay, sorry, it's AFC. Okay, AFC, not S, huh? AFC. All right, so where is F? C. So AFC, I believe is this one. There's no F here, but I believe this is F over here. Okay, so one thing to so we want to get AFC. So first, since this line over here, AD, is also the side of the square, that means this, and this are the same. So let's write it down. So since AF is AD of triangle A ADE is same as what's called this uh AD of square, right? Then that means you see over here that this thing, so I'm gonna draw the line here, that this is an isosceles triangle. Okay, so this one, okay, and then this one, right? And then also this one. Okay. Right. So square ABCD. Okay. That means ED is equal to DC. That means EC is a isosceles triangle. Okay, so that's one thing to take note of. All right, so now the next thing is that we need to get this angle. So F is here. So EF, this one. Okay. So in order for us to get this, we need to get this angle, right? So EFD. So if we can get EFD, then we can get AFC. So how we get EFD is we first need to get this. Let me use another color. Need to use this angle over here. Let me just move this angle here. Right. So we also know that this angle, right, is a 90-degree angle. So if we know this little angle, oh, why is this not green? So if we know this angle, okay, why is my right? So that means if we know this angle, then we can get this whole purple angle. This purple angle, then we can get this blue angle, right? And then we can get this green angle, and then we can get this AFC over here. All right. So at the same time, this angle over here, right, is 60 degrees, right? Because this is a angle of a equilateral triangle. So 60 degrees over here. Okay, so let's get the purple angle over here. Right, this is 60. Right, this one let me make it small. Right, okay. All right, so let's get started. So first we can get ECD. All right, so angle ECD is equal to 180 minus 60 minus 90, right? And then we divide it by 2. Okay, you divide it by 2. Okay, and let's use the calculator. 180 minus 60 minus 90, okay, which is 30, and then divide by 2, and this is 15, right? 15, right, degrees in this case over here. Okay, so this is 15 degrees in this part, okay, and 15 degrees in this part as well. Right, so now we know this. Next thing is we can get the blue angle, right? So the blue angle over here is angle CFD, right? So C angle CFD is equal to 180 minus 90 minus 15. Okay, so this is 90, not 80, because we have a right angle over here. So let's use the calculator. 180 minus 90 minus 15. Okay, this will give us 75 degrees. All right, so now we know the blue angle is 75 degrees, right? So now the next thing is we want to get the green angle. Since EFC is a straight line, then we can just use angle EFD, which is also equal to we'll just use EFD first, which is basically 180 minus 75, and this will give us 105 degrees. Okay, so since EFD is 105, and that means it's equal to angle AFC, and this is because vertically opposite angles. All right, there you go. So that's your answer to this question, 105 degrees. All right, let's move on to the next question. All right, question number 5. So Dylan and Greg set off from their school at the same time and jogged towards the stadium using the same route. They jogged at a constant speed throughout the whole journey. When Greg covered 1/4 of the distance, Dylan was 300 meters behind him. Dylan reached the stadium at 9 a.m., jogging at a speed of 100 meters per minute. What time did Greg reach the stadium? All right, so in this case over here, okay, so for this, let one unit be what do you call this? Distance Greg covered in 1/4 of distance. Okay, total distance. All right. Okay, so for this, we know that since Greg covered 1/4 of distance in one unit, then that means for okay, so for this we can say let 1 unit be time Greg um, run 1/4 of the distance, right? Why is because you want to get the Dylan's distance because Dylan has the speed. So Dylan's 1/4 distance in units is equal to 1 unit times 100 meters per minute. Then this is equal to 100 units meters lah. Meters. Okay, 100 unit. I'm just gonna bracket this in meters. Okay, right. So then we also want to know Greg distance. So Greg 1/4 distance in unit is basically plus 300. Okay, so in this case is 100 units plus 300. Okay, that's it in meters as well. Okay, so now next thing is that, right, total distance, right, total distance. Okay, since Greg uh, traveled 1/4 of the distance, right? So sorry, Dylan distance, Dylan distance in 1 unit time, okay, is equal to 100 units. Okay, per 100 units are basically. So Greg distance, okay, this makes sense. In 1 unit time is basically 100 units, right? So total distance, since Greg is able to run in 1/4 distance, that means total distance is equal to, right, 100 units plus 300 and then times 4. Okay, so basically, right, 1 out of 4 distance is Greg's distance, which is 1 unit plus 300. Then 4 out of 4, right, total distance is basically 100 units plus 300 times 4, which is equal to 400 units plus 1200. Okay, so this is the total distance. Then after that, we know that Greg's time is equal to basically 1/4 distance is 1 unit. Okay, so then we just have 1 unit times 4, equal to 4 units. So this is, yeah, Greg's time, and then Dylan's time, okay, is basically equal to total distance divided by speed. Okay, to get time, right? So total distance is 400 units plus 1200. Okay, and then this whole thing, right? Let me just put this in the next line easier. Okay, 400 units, and then we divide by the speed. So his speed was 100. Okay, so then this will then become, so it's pretty straightforward, 4 units plus 12. Okay, and this 1200 is basically 12 minutes in this case over here. So the difference is equal to 4 units plus 12 minus 4 units equal to 12 minutes. So that means in this case, Dylan reached 9 a.m. So that means for Greg, the finishing time is equal to 9 a.m. Minus 12 minutes. Okay, is equal to 8:48 a.m. in this case over here lah. Okay, so that's it. So the answer is 8:48 a.m. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question number 6. Okay, so Mr. Tan had a total of 1,370 oranges and pears at first. He sold 47 of the oranges and 265 pears. The number of oranges left was half the number of pears. How many more pears than oranges were there at first? All right, so let's start with this. He sold 47 oranges. Okay, so uh, oranges sold was equal to 4 out of 7. So turn fractions to units. So oranges sold is equal to 4 units. Oranges total is equal to 7 units. So that means oranges um, left is equal to 3 units. Since oranges left is half of pears, that means, right, let me just make this a bit shorter. That means um, pears is 2 times of oranges. So that means pears left is equal to 3 units times 2, which is 6 units. So we also know the pears total in this case, which is basically 265 pairs. So pairs total is equal to 65 plus 265. 6 units, sorry. 6 units plus 265. Okay, so we also know that the total at first is 1370. Total at first is equal to 1370. Then we also know total at first is in units is equal to total 7 units, right? 7 units plus pairs total as well, 6 units plus 265, which is equal to 13 units plus 265. So since they are the same, let me just make this smaller a bit like this. Okay, so now that means 13 units plus 265 equal to 1370. 13 units would then be 1370. Okay, minus 265, and this is equal to, so let's use the calculator, 1370 minus 265. This will give us 1105. Okay, and then 1 unit is equal to 1105 divided by 13. Okay, let's use the calculator, divided by 13. Okay, this will give us 85. Okay, so once you know the 85, so we want to get difference. How many more pairs than oranges were there at first? Okay, difference is basically pairs 6 units plus 265. Okay, minus 7 units. Okay, in this case, right? So let me just combine, right? So 6 times 85 plus 265 minus 7 times 85. Okay, and then let's use the calculator. So 6 times 85 plus 265 and minus 7 times 7 times 85. So 6 times 85 plus 200. Okay, and this will give you 180. Okay, there you go. So that's the answer. Let's move on to the next question. Right, so question 7. Mr. Raj paid $3,893 for 2 identical refrigerators using the saving coupons as shown below. How much more money did Mr. Raj have to pay for the 2 refrigerators if he did not use the saving coupons? Okay, so first, refrigerator uh, percent discounted price percentage is equal to just 100 minus 10, which is equal to 90%. Okay, and then second one, second refrigerator discount price is, which is 100 minus 20 will be 80%, right? So that means the 90 plus 80, so total percentage paid for 2 refrigerators is equal to 90 plus 80, and this will give you 170%. And then we know how much he paid, right? Total paid for 2 refrigerators, okay, is $3893 in this case over here. So that means 170% is equal to 3893, not about 3. So how much more did Mr. Raj have to pay for the, so how much more? So how much more percentage more if he paid full price is equal to much more did Mr. Rush have to pay for the if he do not use, which is basically um, total discount price, paid total discount price percentage minus full price percentage, which is full price percentage minus total discount price, which is 100 times 2 minus 170, which is basically 30%. Okay, so that means we can just need 30% in this case is equal to 3893 divided by 170, and then times 30. Okay, let's use the calculator. Oops. All right, so 3893 divided by 170 times 30. Okay, $687. $687. Okay, so there you go. So that's the answer. $687. Okay. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question number 8. Right. So it says here Mina saved some $2 notes and $5 notes in the ratio of 5:3. When she took out 36 $2 note and added the same number of $5 notes, the ratio became 2:3. Find the total value of all the $5 notes Mina saved at first. So this is what we call constant total. Okay. So reason is why it's constant total is because when she took out 36 and added the same number, so that means well, let me just use. Okay. So this means that the total is the same. Okay, so that means if you were to just dollars two is to dollars five. So we have the before, okay, and then we have the change, and we have the after. Okay, like this. All right. So dollars two to dollars five. So we also want to get a total as well. Right, total. So dollars two is 5 is to 3. That means the total is 8. Okay, like this. Right, the change was basically took out. So transfer $36 to $5. That makes sense, right? Same number. Okay, so at least luckily same number. So after, right, after is 2:3, which is the dollar total is 5. So in this case we need to get let me just move here. This means the total number of thing is the same lah, right? Okay, so this means the number of notes remains the same. Okay, so with this we want to get in this case we want to get the total to be the same number by having lowest common multiple, right? Common multiple. Okay, so of 8 and 5, which is 40. Okay, so now we need to just multiply each other to 40. So that means 8 and 5, we just multiply this by 5. Right, so let's do everything multiply by 5. Same goes to the after. This multiply by 8. Well, just x 8, right? Okay, and now let's convert this, right? So let's put the after, the change below. So for this 538, you then become 25. This is 15, and this is 40. Okay, right? Then for this after 235, right? 2 is to 3, 5 is to 3. Okay, then that means this will then become 16, and then 3 is 24, and then this is still 40. Okay, so now we can see the difference. So transfer 36. So so I would say, yep. Yeah. Okay. So either way, we know that there's some changes, right? So in the end, um, number of dollars to notes transferred is equal to number of $2 notes in units, right? So transfer is double R. Okay, so that means it's just 25 minus 16, which is equal to 9 units, right? And then we know the transfer lah, number of notes transferred is 36. Okay, so that means 9 units. Oops, 9 units is equal to 36 notes. Okay, so what do we want? Find the total value of $5 notes saved at first. Okay, so $5 notes saved at first, okay, before, which is 15. So I just put 1 unit first, is equal to the 6, and then divided by 9. This will give us 4. So 15 units is equal to 15 times 4. This will give us $60. Sorry, 60 notes. 60 notes. Damn. So just notes to make sure you know what these are. Otherwise, you'll get confused. Okay, so we know that at first we have $5. That is 15 units. So that means total dollars 5 value, notes value at first is equal to 60 notes times 5, which is equal to, this is the calculator, 300 lah, right? 60 times 5, $300. So the answer is dollars 300. Okay, there you go. So that's the answer to this, right? So this is what we call a constant total concept in this case over here. All right, let's move on to the next question. All right, so question number 9, two rectangular tanks are shown below. Right, so tank A and tank B. At first, tank A was completely filled with water, and one third of tank B was filled with water. Water flowed out of tap at tank A at a rate of 1.2 liters per minute. Water from tap at tank B flowed in at a rate of 1.2 minutes. How long did it take for the height of water to be same in both? Okay, so in this case, you want to know the total volume for tank A and tank B, right? So tank A volume is equal to length times breadth times height. Okay, so length times breadth, 30, 20, 40, equal to 30 times 20 times 40. So this would be 2400. 30 times 20 times 40, 24,000. 24000 centimeter cube, or equal to 24 liters. Right, so let's do the same for tank B, right? Tank B volume, right? But first we need to know tank B height. So tank B 1/3 height, because it's filled 1/3, is equal to, in this case, 36 times 1/3 should be what? Should be 12, right? So double check, 36 divided by 3, 12. Okay, so length times breadth, so it's 40 times 25. Okay, so this is equal to 40 times 25 times 12. Okay, 1/3 volume, so equal to, let's use the calculator. 40 times 25 times 1 2 should be 1000, 12,000 centimeter cube, which is equal to 12 liters. All right, so now we know the current tank's volume. The next thing is we know that they will how long did it take for the height of water to be the same in both? So tank B height is currently 12 and tank A height is currently 40. So what is the rate that they will be increasing or decreasing in terms of height? So we need to know the base area. Okay, in this case over here. So let's put tank A base area is equal to, at least I got this 20 is equal to 600. Okay, and then tank B base area is basically um 40 times 25. This will give us 1000 if I'm not wrong. Right, 1000. So 40 times 25 will be 1000 centimeters square, right? Right, so height is equal to total volume divided by height. So we don't need this lah, right? So equal height is just total volume divided by total base area. Okay, so in this case over here, let me just put this at the bottom. Okay, so total volume in this case is 2400 plus 12,000. Okay, right, and then we divided by total base area, which is 600 plus 1000. Okay, and this is equal to let's use the calculator, 24000 plus 12123. Okay, and then we divide it by brackets. This should be 1600, 1600. Yep, and this will become 22.5 centimeters, right? So 22.5 centimeters is the equal height that we're looking for in tank B. So now, since we know the what do you call this, the tank height, so essentially to get equal height for both, since tank B is 12, then we just need the remaining, right? So in this case over here, so remaining tank B height is equal to 22.5 minus 12, which is equal to 10.5 centimeters, right? So we know that we are remaining 10.5 centimeters. So at the same time, we also need to know what's the rate. So uh, rate tank B increase in height per minute is equal to in this case 1.2 liters. So 1.2, okay, I'm gonna write here 1.2 liters is equal to 1200 centimeter cube, right? So we just have 1200, then divided by tank B area is 1000, which is 1.2 centimeter per minute. Okay, so then time, so how long did it take? So time to equal height is equal to 10.5 divided by 1.2, right? 1.5 divided by 1.2. Okay, and let's use the calculator. 10.5 divided by 1.2, and this will become 8.75 minutes. Okay, there you go. So it will take 8.75 minutes to become equal height. Right, that's it. There's a lot of steps over here. Okay, but yeah, let's move on to the next question. Question number 10. Right, question number 10 says in the figure below, ABCD is a rhombus. So a rhombus is basically equal height and parallel lines, right? So equal, 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 right? Okay, so now next thing is that PQ and RS are straight lines. So PQ and RS are straight lines. And then BAD, bad, is 134 degrees. And then DCS is 15 degrees. And RCP, sorry, is 106 degrees. Okay, so find CTD. So you want to find C and then T and then D. In this case over here. All right, so C, where is it? C, T, and D. Which is this? Okay, so how do you find CTD? So we know that a rhombus has, in this case, equal sides, but it's not this side over here, it's this side. So don't get confused. So to get CTD, what we need is basically, I would say, this whole angle, right? Wait, this angle and then this angle, right? So I'll make this red, I'll make this green. Okay, so we need to get this green angle and this red angle. So once we get these two angles, then we can get CTD. So this green angle over here is also this angle over here, right? And that's it. Okay, pretty straightforward, I would say. So for rhombus, it's basically adjacent angles, 180 degrees. And since SR, so RS over here, I'm going to draw another straight line in this. So RS is a straight line, and we have two angles here, 106 and I call this 15 degrees. So we actually can get this red angle over here. All right, so I think that's pretty much it, to be honest. Yeah, so first let's get angle PCD. So angle PCD, right, over here. So PCD is this one, right? PCD is equal to 180 minus 106 minus 15. Okay, so let's use the calculator. 180 minus 106 minus 15. This is 59 degrees, right? Okay, so that means this over here is 59 degrees. Next thing is you want to get this green angle. So since we know DAB is green, 134, so that means angle what is this? ABC. So angle ABC is equal to 180 minus 134. Okay, and this is equal to, so 180 minus 134, this is equal to 46 degrees. Okay, so the green angle over here is 46 degrees. That means the opposite angle as well is also 46 degrees. Okay, so angle ABC is 46, and that means angle ADC, right? ADC is also 46 degrees, right? Okay, so now with that, we can get CTD, right? So angle CTD is equal to 180 minus 59 minus 46, and then this is equal to, so 180 minus 59 minus 46, this is equal to 75 degrees. Okay, and that's it. So the answer to this CTD is 75 degrees. There you go. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question 11. All right, so question 11. At a charity walkathon, there was an equal number of children who took part in either the 3 km or 5 km walk. There were 200 girls who took part in the 3 km walk and 162 girls who took part in the 5 km walk. 60% of the boys took part in the 5 km walk. For every 1 km walk by the children, $100 was donated to charity. How many boys took part in the 5 km walk? So we know that 5 km boys is equal to 60%. Okay, that means 4 km boys, 4 km, sorry, 3 km boys is equal to 100 minus 40%. This is equal, sorry, 100 minus I very fast 40%. Okay, so since both there's equal number of children in 3 km and 5 km, so that means 208 plus 40% is equal to 162 plus 60%. Okay, all right, so with that said, we can then just put here as, so we can just get how much is 1% now, right? So we have 60% minus 40% and 208, then minus 162. 62. So that means this will be 20% equal to what's 208 minus 162, and this will give you 46. Okay, so we want to get 60%, which is equal to 46 times 3. And this will give us, let's see, multiply by 3, 138. So there you go. So the answer is 138. Ta-da! Let's move on to the next part B. All right, so part B, find the total amount of money raised by the children in this charity in the walkathon. So we know that $10 donated for every 1 kilometer. We also know that the boys is 5 kilometers, is 138. So that means we just need to add 162. So total 5 km, total 5 km children is equal to 138, and then plus 138 plus 162 in this case. So 162, and this will give us, so let's use the calculator, 138 plus 162, this will give us 300. Okay, so we know that total for 3 km children is also 300. Okay, in this case, so total money, so total so 1 km is equal to $10. So total money is equal to 300 times 5 plus 300 times 3. Okay, then we just, once we get the total distance times 10, right? So this one is equal to total distance times 10. Okay, dollars. Okay, so in this case it's just 1500, 1500 plus 900. Okay, actually I will just, it's basically 24000. Okay, $24,000. That's it. Okay, so yep, that's a lot of money raised. Okay, but very good. Let's move on to the next question. Question 12. All right, so the figure shows, question 12, the figure shows a path of width 2 meters in a rectangular garden of length 66 meters. The outline of the path is made of quarter circles with center A, semicircles with center D, and straight lines A, B. So A is over here, right? A, B, C, D, and E, F. So what is the what is the breadth of the rectangular garden? Okay, C, D, and then E, F. All right. So in this case over here, we know that there is this 2 meters line. So what I'm gonna draw some lines over here. So we have over here 2 meters, right? So things to take note. Whoops. Things to take note is we have these 2 lines over here, okay, and then we also have another 2 lines over here, right? And then we have another 2 lines over here. Okay, so that means this leaves us with the, I'll call it square, right? So I'll just put here some squares, right? So this is one. Okay, let's say 1 unit, right? Okay, we put 1 unit, then we put 1 unit over here, we put 1 unit, then we put 1 unit over here, and then we put 1 unit over here. Okay, so in total 66 meters, and then this is basically 2, right? Really small. So I'm gonna put some arrows over here. So this is 2 meters here as well, because these are the paths. Okay, 2 meters, 2 meters, and 2 meters. So in essence, there is a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5 units, 66 meters minus these three 2 pounds over here. Okay, so in this case, and A over here, right? A is basically, what's the breadth? Breadth is basically this whole thing, right? This breadth over here. So it's equal to 1 unit plus 2 meters. I have 2 meters over here. And then let's see if this is another unit. No, so this is another, what do you call this? 1 unit. Boop, boop, boop. Ah, yes, yeah. So then let me just create, there's another path over here. So 2 meters path, which is this. Okay, so this is another path. That's what you see over here. And this is another path. Oops, like this. Okay, so we have another unit. I had a tingling sense that this is 2 meters as well. Right, this is 2 meters. This little small thing is 2 meters here. Okay, so from here we can calculate, right? So this is the breadth. Breadth, yeah. Okay, right. This is the breadth. Okay, so now the 66 meters is equal to 5 units plus 2 times 3, which is basically 5 units plus 6, right? 6 meters in this case. So that means 5 units is equal to 66 minus 6, which is equal to 60, right? 60. Then 1 unit is equal to 60 divided by 5, which is 12 meters. So we know the breadth, all right? The breadth is equal to 2 units plus 2 times 2, right? 2 times 2. So in this case, this would then become 2 times 12 plus 2, 4. And this will become 24, 28 meters. So the breadth is 28 meters in this case over here. Right. Let's move to the next question. Find the area of the path. Take pi as 3.14 meters. So this is the path over here, right? So the path consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 quarter circles plus a rectangle, right? 2 meters in this case over here. And then we leave the 2 here, right? And this thing over here. Okay, so let's get the rectangular one. So rectangle path, rectangle path, right? Path area is equal to, in this case, it's 1 unit, right? It's 1 unit. Let me move this. 1 unit plus 2 meters in this whole thing over here, right? So let me just grab this, right? So it is half a breadth lah, basically. So the what is the width is 2 times half the breadth, which is equal to 2 times half times 28, which is equal to 28 meter square. Right, great. So now we know the rectangle path is 20 meters square. Right, so let's put that first in. So once we've done that, the next thing is we want to calculate this different, what do you call this path. So it's basically everything is covered, but essentially, oops, let me draw a line that is maybe this. So we just want this whole path. Wait, let me just put an arrow instead. Okay, we just want this whole path, this whole quarter circle, and then minus the biggest quarter circle minus the smaller one, right? So if I were to draw another arrow, that's the yellow one. So you see this one over here, then we just minus this over here. Okay, and then you get the path, right? So essentially we just need to get uh the radius of the bigger one. So bigger quarter circle, okay, quarter circle is equal to 1/4 times, okay, so what's the radius? So bigger 1/4 circle radius is equal to 1 unit plus 2, which is basically, so 1 unit is 12, right? So 12 plus 2 is equal to 14, okay, meters, right? So bigger quarter circle is pi r square. So we have pi and then times radius, which is radius times radius, okay? So now we just put in 1/4 circle times the pi is 3.14, okay, times the radius, which is 14 meters, right? 14 times 14. Okay, so let's get that. So let's use the calculator. So 1 divided by 4 times 3.14 times 14 times 14. Okay, this will give us 153.86 meters. Then meters square. Okay, so now we got the bigger one. Let's put this on. The next one is we want to get the smaller quarter circle, right? So this is small quarter circle, and radius is essentially just 1 unit, which is 1 unit, which is equal to 12 meters. Okay, so small quarter circle area is equal to 1/4 times pi, right? Pi times radius. So that means 1/4 times 3.14 times radius is 12, right? So 12 times 12. Okay, let's do that. So calculator 1 divided by 4 times 3.14 times 12 times 12. Okay, and this gives us 11304 meters square. Okay, so now we know the small circle radius, right? So next thing is we can get the path, right? The semicircle path, not semicircle, quarter path. The 1/4 path is equal to big one 153. So I'll just put this whole thing 153.86, right? This whole thing, okay, sure, right? Minus 11304, okay, and this is equal to, so where is my calculator? So 153.86 minus 113.04. Okay, and this is equal to 40.82. So how many paths do we have? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 paths. So that means 5. So 1/4 circle path. So total is equal to 5 times 1/4 circle path plus rectangle path area. Okay, and this is equal to 5 times 40.82 plus 28. Okay, equal to, so in this case, we have 5 times. So let's use the calculator. Multiply by 5 plus 28. And this will give you 232.1 meter square. Right, there you go. So that's your answer, 232.1 meter square. All right, let's move on to the next question. Question number 13. So the graph below shows the rate at which two machines, machine A and machine B, were assembling toy cars over a period of 12 hours. Okay, so let's continue from this, right? Okay, so in part A, right, in the first 6 hours, both machines assemble an equal number of toy cars. How many toy cars can each machine pack in 1 hour during this period? Okay, so total machine in the first 6 hours, what is the number? Okay, so in this case, you see also there is, okay, yeah. So what you can do is you can calculate the number of gaps. All right, so you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so that means 5 gaps. Let's go to 100. One gap is equal to 100 divided by 5, which is equal to 20. Okay, so it says here, how many tortillas can each machine pack in 1 hour during this period? So a good way is to no need to calculate the 6, because in this line it's constant. So if you were to just get the, okay, over here don't really say, can I just get the 6 hours then? All right, so let's get the 6 hours. Let's put in red. So 6 hours over here, and then let's draw another line, right? Okay, and then this time this is 400 in this case. Okay, so this means this is 420. So 6 is 420. So that means 6 hours is equal to 420. Then 1 hour is equal to 420 divided by 6. This will give us 70. Okay, there you go. So that's your answer. Okay, answer is 70. Right, so the thing is 1 hour is 70, then that means, but the thing is that we have two machines, right? In the question here, two machines were packing 70. So that means from this, so one machine pack per hour is equal to 70 divided by 2. This is 35. Okay, so that means it's 35 toys per hour. Okay, let's move on to part B. So during the last 6 hours, the rate at which machine A was assembling toy cars was increased, while machine B continued assembling toy cars at the same rate. So how many more toy cars did machine A assemble per hour than machine B? All right, so for part B, what we can do is we can just go to the 7th hour, right? We don't have to go to the 12 hours. Go to 7th hour, because this line is constant. It's a straight line over here. So on the 7th hour, you'll see that the new one is on 580, right? 580. Okay, so 7th hour combined toys is equal to 580. Okay, 580. So the increase, so 420 is the in the 6 hour. So increase from 6 hour to 7th hour is equal to 580 minus 420, right? Is it 580? Yes, 580 minus 420 is equal to 120. So that means the new rate is 120 toys per hour. The new combined rate is 120 toys per hour. Okay. So now, if since machine B stays the same at 35 toys per hour, that means machine A new rate is equal to 120 minus 35, which is equal to, let's calculate 120 minus 35. This will give you, in this case, sorry, so this is not 120, it's 160. So this combined is 160. So it's 160 minus 35. Okay, so let's calculate again. 160 minus 35. Okay, this will then give you 125. Okay, that's the new rate, toys per hour. Okay, so difference is basically 125 minus 35. Okay, and this will give you 90 toys. Okay, per hour. Okay, there you go. So that's the answer, 90 toys per hour. Right. Okay, or just say 90 lah. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Okay, question 14. Okay, Sherry baked cookies, packed them to sell. The graph shows the number of cookies she baked and number of packets of cookies sold from week 1 to week number 4. So week 1 to week number 4, now bake cookies baked, number of packets. Okay, each packet was filled with the same number of cookies. Okay, you can see that, right? So now the next part is, let's go to part A. How many cookies did she pack in one packet? So I have number of packets 20 and 300. So technically it's just we can just write 20 packets is equal to 300. One packet is equal to 300 divided by 20. This is equal to 15. Okay, pretty straightforward. Okay, let's move on to part B. So how many more packets of cookies did she sell in week 3 than in week 1? Okay, so let's get week 3 numbers. Okay, so number of gaps over here is 2, right? 2 gaps is equal to 8. One gap is equal to 8 divided by 2. This is equal to 4, right? So week 1 over here is 16 plus 4. This is 20. Then week 3 is 36. Okay, 36. So what's the difference? So week 1 is 20. Week 3 is 36. So the difference is equal to 36 minus 20. And this will give us 16. There you go. Now 16 are 16. Right, so there you go. That's the answer for part B. Okay, let's move on to part C. So part C, it says the number of packets of cookies Sherry sold in week 5 increased by 30% compared to week 4. How many cookies did she sell in week 5? So let's go to week 4. So how many cookies did she sell in week 4? Is 40. Okay, so whoops. Okay, week 4 is 40. So she sold in week 5 increased by 30%. Okay, so that means week 5 is equal to 40 times bracket 100 plus 30% is equal to, so we can go to the calculators, basically 40 times 130%, this will give us 52. Okay, so the answer is just 52 lah. Okay, there you go. So many did she sell? Okay, so this is packets, right? Packets of cookies. So we know that one packet is 15. So total, whoops, give me a second. So 52 over here. So total cookies is equal to 52 packets times one packet is 15, right? And this is equal to, let's do that, 52 times 15. This is 780 cookies. All right. Okay, there you go. So that's the answer. 780 cookies for week 5 total cookies. All right, let's move on to the next question. All right. Question 15. So in the figure below, ACE is a triangle where AF is equal to AB. So I think they already have that. So AF and AB like this. Okay, and then after that, EF is equal to ED. So EF is equal to ED. EF, let me just put here, EF is equal to ED, like this. Right, so the sum of ABF and EDF, ABF and EDF is 125. Okay, so let me just put it here. So angle, oops, this one, angle EDF plus angle ABF is 125. Okay, so find BFD. So BFD is this rate over here. So BFD. Okay, so since we know the angles, let me just make this into a different color, purple. So we know that these two angles, right, is the same, and then these green angles also are the same. So ABF and EDF, right? So let's write it here. So A angle ABF plus angle EDF. Okay, in this black color over here is the same, right? So let me just put two so at least you know which angles are the same. These two, okay, and one more, this one. So since it's equal to 1 to 5, right? 1 to 5, okay. Is equal to 1 to 5. Okay, that means since angle ABF, so okay, and ABF, if it's equal to angle AFB and angle EDF, right? EDF is equal to angle DFE, DFE. So that means angle DFE, which is the single green, plus angle AFB, which is the single purple over here, is equal to 125 degrees as well, right? In this case, right? So let's just put degrees, right? So that means if you want to get angle, oh, what's 125 degrees? So if you want to get angle BFD, which is equal to 180 minus 125, right? So angle BFD is the same as equal to 180, then minus DF plus AFB, okay, which is basically this, and this is equal to 55, right? 180 minus 125, this is 55 degrees, okay? So the answer to find BFD is 55 degrees. So let's see over here. This is red. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Part B, find the sum of BAF and AEC. BAF. So BAF and EFC. AEC. AEC. Okay, so basically BEF, these two, right? So let me just do the triple one. 1, 2, and 3. And then we have the green one as 1, 2, and 3. Damn. Right? So, okay. Okay, so for this, so if you want to know the basically the triple lines, BAF, and EFD, plus angle AED, which is also the triple line. So what is BAF, right? Angle BAF is equal to 180 minus, then you have your ABF and AFB, right? In this case over here, 180 minus this plus this, right? Your other two purple lines, the purple angles, and then angle AED is equal to angle EDF plus DFE, right? This one over here, right? Plus, and we know that this two over here, this one is equal to 125 degrees, and this one is equal to 125 degrees. So that means if you were to combine this, it's basically angle BF and AD is equal to this whole thing, right? 180 minus this, right? And then plus, I'm going to put plus here, then 180 minus DFE, okay, which is also the same as, since, what is this? Since ABF is this, so that means it's just 180 plus 180 minus, so ABF and EDF, okay, well, I'll just put minus here, minus, right, and minus, we know that this is, okay, like this, that means this is basically 360 minus 125 minus 125, okay. All right, and let's get the answer. So 360 minus 125 minus 125, this is equal to 110 degrees. There you go. So that's the answer. 110 degrees. Okay, that's it. Let's move on to the next question. All right, so question 16. The pattern shown below is made out of squares and triangles. The table shows the number of squares and triangles for each figure. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for squares, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Number of triangles 4, 6, 8, 10. And then y is 6. And then total numbers 5, 8, 11, and 14. Okay, fill in the table for figure 6 over here. So we have 10. So this is just plus 2, right? So I'm just going to write here plus 2. So everything is just plus 2 in this case. So you can just plus 2 and plus 2. And then after that, this should be 12. And then on 5, right, this 5. Wait, where is my 5? And then you just plus 2 again. This would then become 14, right? So then you add them up. This should be 20. Okay, pretty straightforward. Okay, next one. Find the total number of squares and triangles in figure 102. So for this, we want to know what is the, what do you call this? Mm, the pattern for squares and triangles in figure 102. So we know that if we can get the triangles, we just add to the figure number, you get the answer. So in this case, I think what we can do is 5 times 2, 2 times 2 plus 2. Yep. So from 1 to 4 over here, okay, so the pattern is figure 1 will get 4, which is basically 1 times 2 plus 2 equal to 4. Then figure 2 is basically, this is for number of squares. Okay, so for 2 will be 2 times 2 plus 2, this will be 6. And figure 3 will be 3 times 2 plus 2 will be 8. Okay, so that means dot 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 figure 102 is equal to 102 times 2 plus 2, and this will then give us calculator 102 times 2 plus 2, 206. 206. So this is the number square, so total will be equal to 206 plus 102. This will be 308. Okay, there you go. So that's the answer. Okay, so part C, find the figure number which has a total of 172 and then triangles as what you see over here. So first we want to get how we get from 1 to 5, 2 to 8, 3 to 11, 4 to 14, right? So figure 1, instead of this, figure 1 will be 1 is to 5. Okay. Then figure 2 is, what is this? 5, 8, 11. 8. So figure 2 is 8. Then figure 3 is 14. Oops. Right, 14. Okay, so this is total. Okay, so it's good to just, okay, so that means in this case from 1 to 5, we basically have 1 times 3 instead. This will be 2 times 3, then this will be 3 times 3. Okay, with 5, 8, sorry, this is not 14, this is 11. Okay, so the total, this is what is it, and then that means dot 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 where, so figure n is equal to n times n plus 2. Okay, sorry, n times not 2, n is 3. Okay, is equal to the number itself. Okay, so we can reverse engineer. That means 1742 is equal to 3n plus 2. So that means 3n is equal to 1742 minus 2, which is equal to 1740. So that means n is equal to 1740 divided by 3. This is equal to, calculator, 1740 divided by 3. This is 580. Okay, there you go. So that's the answer. The figure number is 580. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Last question, 17. Units packed 2 types of books into 4 identical shelves. A big book had a thickness of 9 centimeters. And the small book has a thickness of 5 centimeters. As shown in figure 1, the shelves W, X, Y were stacked on top of one another. Okay, so the books were packed next to one another without any gaps. Shelf W were packed with the greatest number of big books, leaving a 3 centimeter gap at the end. Shelf X was packed from end to end with the greatest number of small books. So figure 3 shows the books in shelf W and shelf X. The number of small books in shelf X was 11 more than the number of books in shelf W. Okay. Right. So in part A, what is the length of shelf X? Right. So let's get the length of the shelf. So we know that shelf W has big books over here. So let's have one unit B big books on shelf X, right? In this case over here. So we also know that, okay, the length of shelf with big books is equal to, right, 1 unit. And then we know that the big book is 9 centimeters, right? So that means 1 unit times 9 plus we have a gap of 3 centimeters as well, right? Right, 3 centimeters. So that means this is equal to 9 units plus 3. So now we want to know number of small books, so shelf X books on shelf X. So sorry, this shelf WR. Okay, so length of shelf. So number of books on shelf X. So it says here shelf X has 11 more books. So 1 unit plus 11. Okay. So then let's move to the next one. Then length of shelf with small books. So instead of this, small books is equal to. So we know that the small book has 5 centimeter thickness. So that means we just have 1 unit plus 11. Make this into one bracket because it's the number books times 5. And this will be 5 units plus 55. Okay. So from this, since the length of shelf is the same, so we just put 9 units plus 3 equal to 5 units plus 55. So that means this will be 4 units equal to 5 minus 3 is equal to 52. Okay, then 1 unit, right, will then be equal to 52 divided by 52 divided by 4. This will give us, so use calculator, 2 divided by 4. This will give us 13. So now with this, we can know the length of the shelf, lah, right? So in this case, let's move our workings on top over here, right? So we can use either the length of the shelf with big books or small books, right? So I will say, yeah, either will work. It doesn't really matter. So length of shelf X, okay, can sure, which is basically this one also lah, right? Which is in this case both are the same lah. So length of shelf, okay, sure, X is equal to 5 times 13 plus 55. This will then become, so 5 times 13 plus 55, 120 centimeters. Okay, there you go. So that's the answer, 120 centimeters. Okay, let's move on to part B. So Eunice packed a total of 36 big and small books in shelf Y and shelf Z. The books were packed from end to end in each shelf without any gaps as shown in the figure 4. How many big books were packed in shelf Y and shelf Z? Okay, so we know the small thickness is 5 centimeters, the big thickness is 9, and then the shelf width is 120, and the total books is 36. So we're going to use assumption method. Okay, we have two values. We know what's the total for both, but we just don't know which one is either. So for this, let's assume all books are small. So that means 36 times, so assume total is equal to 36 times small, which is 5. Then this will give us 36 times 5, 180, 180. Okay, so then this is step 1. Right, let's assume all this here. Right, then step 2 is the difference. So that means total difference is equal to 180 minus 120, which is equal to 60. And then thickness difference is equal to 9 minus 5 equal to 4, right? cm. This is cm. Okay, and then last one, step 3 is to just divide. Okay, so step 3 is to divide. Okay, so that means number of big books in one shelf is equal to this one shelf. Wait, this is pack 36 more. Oh, okay, my bad. So the shelf width is not only 120. Shelf width for Y and Z is equal to 120 times 2, which is 240. All right, so my bad on this one. So difference total is not 60, it's 240. Okay, minus 180. So this will still give us 60. Interestingly, right? So sure. Okay, so yeah, doesn't matter. So 60 and then divided by 4, this will give us 15 total books. There you go. So that's your answer. 15. Okay, that's it. If you like this video, give a thumbs up. If you want more of this kind of video, subscribe down below and comment down what other things you want me to show you next. See you in the next one. Bye bye.